I think our passions are the things that bring us pleasure in being alive. And sometimes in the pursuit of our goals, we can lose our pleasure in being alive and become exhausted. And after a while, even something we're initially passionate about, like for me, musical theater, performing, and now keynote speaking, those things that are our innate passions, when they become our livelihood, we can get into a cycle of trying to improve and do it better and get to the next goal and the next goal. I remember being in that star dressing room and having worked so hard to pursue this dream. You know, I did the whole being totally broke, living on a friend's sofa, couldn't afford rent, almost giving up and moving back to Michigan. And it finally happened for me. That was a dream come true job for me, right? I worked my butt off to get there, and I was so grateful for it. But we can still, of course, being human, experience burnout and fatigue. We have to find what's meaningful about what we're doing. I often share the story that when I was in the latter years of performing Christine, I was really feeling the burnout, and having trouble giving that same kind of energy. It has to be 1,000% night after night after night. And I told a friend of mine, another actor, he's also a director, how much I was struggling. And he invited me to meet for coffee. So the following week, we were sitting across from each other in this cute coffee shop in New York, and he gave me a gift that is one of the most priceless things I have ever received. It was a purple box, and on top of the box, he stenciled the word perspective. Inside the box were clippings that he had scoured the internet to find from people all over the world talking about what seeing Phantom meant to them, how it touched them. So talk about a big why. I would read one of those stories while I'm in my dressing room getting ready to go out there and think about, it was no longer 1,500 strangers in the dark. It would be that one individual. A question that stopped me in my tracks: what do you do for play? And I was like, I had no answer. It's important, I think, for everybody to give yourself permission to play and to do things that have nothing to do with the pursuit of an end or a goal. I think sometimes we don't value those things enough in our culture of becoming and achieving. And when we're enjoying our own lives and we're uplifted, we have that full cup from which to serve and give to others and do our best work in the world. The idea of taking time out for play or your passion seems like that's never going to happen. I would recommend something that really was helpful for me is just bookending my day, starting first thing in the morning and last thing at night with tapping into yourself. Start and end with gratitude. And before I get sucked into the computer and the activities, just a moment to connect with my heart and say, what is my heart's desire? And what might bring me alive today? Asking yourself those simple questions. And then at night, I like to write down what I'm grateful for that happened during that day. I think for all of us, our childhood holds clues to what might light us up still to this day. I think some of that is just innate. My dad was a big fan of singers and actors. He loved Sinatra and Nat King Cole, the old crooners. Singing well was valued in my home. But even though I knew in my bones, oh my God, I want to do that, I didn't believe I would ever really be able to do it. I was an insecure kid, not the spotlight kind of kid at all. I did not want anybody to see me. And I'm still a massive introvert. whenever we're going after something that feels too big for us and some goal, there are going to be times when we fall. See how far you can go. And that was always my inner voice, was just saying, let me see what I can do, how far I can take this instrument. I don't know what I've got. Let me find the best teachers and coaches I can find and see where this goes. And there was joy along the journey, but the fear never really went away. I still to this day carry that scared fifth grader who chickened out of her solo inside my body. I cannot claim to have conquered or overcome my fear. I can claim to have befriended it and be with it in a way that is self-supportive and self-compassionate. Here you are at this peak level. I remember looking around, well, what is next for me? And the culture would tell us that we have to keep climbing and growing bigger and bigger. So what does this mean now? I have to do TV and film, and I have to originate a role, maybe win a Tony Award, and then what? And it's like we climb to the top of the ladder, and the ladder gets taller and taller, and we never arrive. And that can be great. If that's your goal, good for you. But for me, what does success really look like for me? And it wasn't that. I didn't want those things. I didn't want to keep climbing ladders. What is it that really matters to us? What does a good life look like for you? And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what social media says you should be, what the culture says you should be doing. I don't mean to give achievement and excellence a bad rap, but I can't hang my happiness or my self-worth on those externals because they never pay off. Listening inwardly to what really brings us alive, which is what SIOPA is about. That's why I'm really thrilled to be a part of this community, because it's supporting people in following whatever it is that brings them alive. For everybody listening and watching, I hope you will go out and play, and I would love to hear from you. Please connect with me in whatever way through SIOPA, and let's find each other and let's enjoy this life and get out there and play on the playground.